WBBM News Time, 9:18. Time for Brad Palmer Sport.
Many of the fans are scattering off the field now when they sight the police. And many Sox security members are joining the police, which are now about 40 or 50, and they're slowly, now rapidly, walking out to center field where the fire is burning. The fans are now streaming off the field in great numbers, and I doubt if very few will be left to confront the police as they come in helmets and nightstick gear.
That was the scene between games of a doubleheader at Comiskey Park last night as White Sox owner Bill Veeck went a promotion too far. It was billed as Disco Demolition Night. A rock disc jockey came up with the idea of blowing up disco records as part of his self-serving campaign against disco. And the White Sox went along by admitting anybody bringing a disco record for 98 cents.
You try something, if you don't know how it's going to end up necessarily, you think it's a good idea, and it just got out of hand. He was more popular, had more pulling power than we felt was possible.
The year was 1977, and Jimmy Carter had just taken office as the President of the United States, replacing Gerald Ford. The rock music scene was littered with big names like Queen, the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, Pink Floyd, and Led Zeppelin. Disco, named after the discotheques in which it was played, had been a popular genre throughout the 70s, but found itself smack dab in the middle of a decline in popularity. The fall of disco culminated with Disco Demolition Night on July 12, 1979 at Comiskey Park. One of the local baseball teams, the Chicago White Sox, decided in an attempt to draw more fans to have local shock jock and disco announcer Steve Dahl blow up a collection of disco records between the twilight games between the Chicago White Sox and Detroit Tigers. For 98 cents, attendees were allowed access to the ballpark with the record of their choice to be smashed. Team officials, who'd been hoping to expect a turnout of about 20,000 people, were surprised to see almost 50,000 attendees showed up, with even more sneaking in after the gates had been closed. Staff failed to collect records from many of the attendees, and during the game, these records were thrown like flying discs from the stands. The explosion was so big and caused so much damage to the field that the White Sox had to forfeit the second game. Disco Demolition Night preceded and may have helped precipitate the decline of disco in late 1979. After Disco Demolition Night, fewer and fewer disco records were being released. But the genre remained popular in some nightclubs, and one radio station in particular, WBMX FM Chicago. That is B96.3 today. This is where the Hot Mix 5 was born. Radio jocks Farley Jackmaster Funk, Mickey Mixon Oliver, Ralphie Rosario, Kenny Jam and Jason, and Scott Smokin' Sills were chosen by the station's program director, Lee Michaels, in 1981 to mix tracks for the station on the regular. Other well-known DJs, such as Ron Hardy and Frankie Knuckles, played various styles of dance music, including older disco records, newer Italian disco, electro-funk tracks, b-boy hip-hop music by Man Parrish, Jelly Bean Benitez, Arthur Baker, and John Roby, as well as electronic pop music by Kraftwerk and Yellow Magic Orchestra. House music is the first descendant of disco. The birth and growth of house music can't all be attributed to America, though, as the popularity of European music, specifically English electronic pop like Depeche Mode and Soft Cell, and the earlier, more disco-based sounds of Giorgio Moroder, Klein, and MBO, as well as Italian productions, all contributed to house music. As house continued to grow, certain DJs became known for their ability to mix the music and keep the crowd dancing all night long. New York natives Frankie Knuckles and Larry Levin were at the forefront of the movement, with Frankie opening the Warehouse in Chicago and Larry landing a gig at Paradise Garage in New York. Another famed DJ from the birth of house was Chicago-born DJ Ron Hardy. Hardy was influenced by the style and skills of Frankie Knuckles and Larry Levin. He DJ'd at the Music Box, formerly known as the Warehouse, in Chicago after Frankie Knuckles left to open the Power Plant. Other influential Chicago DJs include Bad Boy Bill, DJ Pierre, Felix the Housecat, DJ Sneak, Derek Carter, Paul Johnson, and DJ Funk. Today, house music, and electronic music as a whole, has grown exponentially in popularity. There are a variety of genres that include house in the titles such as tech house, deep house, acid house, and progressive house. Music festivals are held in different parts of the world throughout the year, affording DJs the opportunity to play their tracks, as well as others for crowds topping 100K at times. From its inception to this day, House music has always been music for the people. And we see that now more than ever today with bars and clubs across America and across the globe booking the best names house still has to offer.